Dispatches from the Frontline, episode 8. This is the penultimate episode of our initial series of 9. All 9 of these are free to air. My name is Rajamir. I've been at this now for the best part of 6 years, and probably about 4 years now, where we've been using this video setup to try and articulate the concerns of people in my hometown of Oldham. And what we found over the last few years is that it isn't just Oldham, it's across the country. And I think with the recent riots and the Labour Party government coming into power, the rest of the country is only now experiencing what we've known in our hometown for many years, unfortunately. This dispatch is called Rise of the Sectarians. And what we need to accept, what we need to understand, is that these sectarians did not rise on their own. We let them. We allowed this situation. We allowed this cancer, and I'll use that word, we allowed this cancer to spread in our society because we believed, or there were those of us in positions of power who believed they could use it, they could exploit it. And so I'm clear once again what I mean by the term sectarian. Of course, in the context of politics, what I mean is a separate group, a faction that promotes themselves either by religious leanings or by ethnic exclusivity. And in the context of Oldham, it is both. It's ethnic and religious combined. And what I mean by that in terms of ethnic is the predominantly Pakistani diaspora in this town, and they have been exploiting the Muslim element of their identity. So it's that toxic mix, and it is a toxic mix in the way it's used, that I make reference to. And when I make reference to them, of course, I make reference specifically to the Oldham Group, which is a subsect of the Labour Party. It's a splinter group. Its leaders are former Labour Party councillors, and they split on the Palestinian issue in the main. They first of all split. Cameron Gaffer from the Labour Party split first and foremost because they could not get a seat around the table of the Labour Party, so they went and joined the Conservatives and use the Conservatives as a mechanism to gain a foothold. The Conservatives, like the Labour lot have done, thought they could control them, quickly found out they couldn't. And 2 of the 3 Conservative councillors ended up getting expelled for anti-Semitism, and the 3rd, Cameron Gaffer, was ordered to do some training for anti-Semitism, and he refused. And the 3 of them went off to form their sectarian Oldham Group, and now they number 8 councillors, of which 7 are Pakistani and 1 is Bangladeshi, all Muslim. I've gone through it before in a previous dispatch as to why this is a challenge, an issue, a concern, a worry in the future politics of the town and the future politics of other towns where the exact same is taking place.
Brothers, hope you're all well. I just want to clarify a couple of points. Yes, there are negotiations going on. The reason we can't say as just independents is because we won't get nothing done at all for the community. We need to go into an alliance. Need to make sure our demands are met. We have put some demands down, and if those demands are met, then we will work with the other parties. And alhamdulillah, if that happens, we will get cabinet positions, we will get what our community deserves. So please, just have faith in us, just a little bit more time. The meeting's on the 22nd of May, and then everything will be a lot clearer. And if they don't meet our demands, we don't care, and we will sit as opposition members. And that's, please just keep that in mind. And that's to all the brothers. We're not like the other party where, just for positions we will go and get ourselves and put ourselves forward just for the money on the cabinets, etc., etc. We're not like that. That's not what we want. We want our community, and we're putting our community first. And you're just going to have to trust us, because we can't actually divulge anything at all to anybody yet until it actually happens. And when it happens, then everybody will know exactly what we've done and how we've done it. And I'm hoping that inshallah ta'ala you'll be proud of us.
Okay, so that was Councillor Cameron Gaffer in the lead up to the first council meeting, where he made repeated religious references, but specifically where he talked about traitors to the Ummah. And of course the Ummah is the Brotherhood of Islam. Sisterhood, yeah. Councillor Cameron Guffaw was a previous... Councillor Guffaw, of course, was a previous councillor for the Labour Party and then the Conservative Party, and used Gaza, exploitation of Gaza, to try and make a manoeuvre for power. He played the Muslim card, and then his entire narratives became around things like Ummah, Islam, God willing. That's what I had to, that's what it means. That's one of the terms means, God willing. And went full throttle and exploiting Gaza. Doesn't talk about Gaza now because there's no election. So these men here exploited that. The three of them on the end. So it's Cameron Guffaw with the glasses on the end. And then the other two there, on the other two end, are of course councillors Navid Chouhan of Waterhead, also a Conservative Party candidate who threw away his Conservative nomination, and Councillor Abdul Wahid on the end. In my opinion, dangerous individuals, the two on the end. And they've got the young woman there, councillor, whose house they went to and pretty much made her sign up with him. So that's what took place there. That's who the Oldham Group are. That's 5 of them anyway. They were then joined by these two. These two were heavyweight Labour Party councillors. First and foremost, ladies first I think, is Councillor Naila Ibrahim. Now Naila Ibrahim is one of those Labour Party stalwarts. Okay, so Naila Ibrahim was first of all in St Mary's. But they needed somewhere to put Oldham Council leader Arud Shah back in after we ousted her from power in Chadderton South. So they moved her back to Glodick, which is St Mary's, and Naila Ibrahim had to give way, so they found her a place in Werneth. So that's Naila Ibrahim, and next to her, of course, is Shoaib Akhtar, former Labour Party deputy leader. That's deputy leader. Served, I think, under Jim McMahon as deputy leader. And let's just call him a local businessman as well, with a number of interests. So both these guys, Pakistanis, Muslims, switched across to the Oldham Group. You can see them there. They stood, they ran. Naila Ibrahim was up for re-election. She was worried that the Oldham Group would, how could I forget? Naila Ibrahim's links to Councillor Cameron Guffaw. The cousins. So when I talk about cartels, yeah, they're all linked. There's family links all over the place. So the cousins. So that's what took place. Shoaib Akhtar and Cameron Guffaw went together and they became a group of 7. 7 Pakistani Muslims. And then they were joined by Montaz Azad, which gave these guys, the Oldham Group, the Pakistanis, an in to the Bangladeshi Muslim community. Remember, the Muslim community in Oldham has 2 elements to it. One's the Bangladeshi, the other one's the Pakistani. They make up the majority of Oldham's Muslims. And once they had the legitimacy to go into areas like Westwood and Chadderton, they had to go and find poster boys. This is one of the poster boys, and I'm going to bring this up full so you can see him. How you doing, Shaheen? Shaheen Hussein, is that your name? Hussein Shaheen? Shaheen is going to be famous. I'm going to make you famous, lad. You want to be the poster boy? You want to stand at the front? You want to hang out with these people? Well, I'm going to make sure that the entire town knows everything that they need. And no. Sending messages to my friends threatening me is not going to make any difference, boyo. Because like all the cowards out there, when he sees you to your face, he's got nothing to say. But it's okay, boy. I want people to take a good look at this man's face, and particularly if you have children who go to school in Waterhead or went to school in Waterhead. He might be familiar to you. I'm just waiting on a few more emails. Dot my I's, cross my T's. But I will put something specific out on this boy, man. You can see Kami G behind. You can see Shoaib Akhtar. And again, nothing but Muslim men with them. And they're campaigning for a guy called ZAFFAR IQBAL. Now, ZAFFAR IQBAL was the Oldham Group candidate for Oldham West. MP candidate. And here he is. So as well as Shaheen, he went and found these two, amongst others. Muhammad Ali at the front, the infamous Muhammad Ali, tries to pass himself off as one of those bearded Muslims. Well, his mates are not so keen on Muhammad Ali texting their wives. Behind him is the lad Fat Junaid. I've talked about him before, but you can see who ZAFFAR IQBAL came and promoted his sectarian campaign with, which is all about the fake Gaza, caring about Gaza, nothing to do with Gaza now. He's currently on holiday in the United States. But Junaid, Fat Junaid as he's known, I'm hearing stories of a stabbing in Mosley. Never mind stealing the collection box at the mosque or his brother being a convicted rapist. I'm hearing of a stabbing in Mosley, an involvement in a stabbing in Mosley. So this is the type of people that the human rights lawyer ZAFFAR IQBAL went and associated himself with. And all of them, it had nothing to do with Let's Kick Labour Out. You can see the colour scheme. They were exploiting the Gaza issue. They were non-stop exploiting the Gaza issue. And I want to play this.
Standing as an independent. We've had a really good meeting today with our brothers, and I want everyone on Thursday, 6 o'clock, to meet us at the Grand Menu car park, and we're going to inshallah, we're going to do a leaflet drop. I'm going to start talking to residents and neighbours about our campaign. So each and every one of you invited, so please do join us. Thank you very much.
All about Palestine. The guy in the end, I know, with the beard and the glasses, is known as the Running Man. Afraj. How a charity is involving itself, how a registered charity is involving itself in directly campaigning for a sectarian. And it gets worse as we go along, and you can see our mate, former deputy leader, Shoaib Akhtar there. This, I want you to look at. It's an old friend, our old friend Neil Willaboobies. I think those of you familiar with Neil Willaboobies would, maybe like to go and revisit this. New independents strengthen their hand with more to come. But it's the Lily Boob. It's one of our, I think it's one of our nice friends. It's one of those fake accounts from one of those women we know very well. These guys are very approachable. Mia is spreading hate towards them, which is dangerous. He's calling them sectarian. However, they want their party to be open to everyone. and encourage white people to join them. People need to talk to them to see how welcoming they are. That's who they are. That's who they are. Would you be welcoming to Muhammad Ali? Not if you're a man who wants your wife not to be mithered. Maybe Fat Junaid at the back. I doubt it. Shaheen? No. Wait until I share what I have on you, Shaheen. No. These are the people that they stood with.
This is not a new platform to me. I lied there and I made a decision. And that decision was to remain unscripted and unapologetic. So if there's any of you amongst us who've got a faint heart, don't like listening to words that speak the truth, want me to be censored in silence and to be civil, I suggest you close your eyes and your ears or you move away. Because I'm not going to be censored. The reality is that the people we talk about, and I'll come to them in a minute, the people we talk about are responsible for killings. The people we talk about are responsible for murders, assassinations, wipeout of generations. Why the fuck should I not call it that? Because I'm going to call it that. A genocide is a genocide. A murder is a murder.
There you go. And who was at this aggressive? You know, people have been arrested for less, haven't they? You know, over the last few weeks, people have been arrested for less. You know, two-tier Britain, I think that speech is a clear example of that. The Oldham Group were in attendance against our war crimes and our country's complicity. They clearly need to learn how to use an apostrophe, with a, you know, rather than that way, because it's possessive. Stop war crimes, hashtag Oldham. And the guy on the end, next to Kami G, is Councillor Chauhan with a Pakistani sectarian flag on the streets of Oldham. You can see him there, look. Here he is. Here they are. The Oldham Group. Whilst they were with Galloway's lot. And the Workers' Party and their candidate ZAFFAR IQBAL, of course, you can see there, liked it. So have a look at the bottom. You'll see he liked it, which is why I screen grabbed that. What I now want to show you is a 30-second screen interview of ZAFFAR IQBAL calling for, very subtle, it's not even subtle, he's calling for the eradication of Israel. Listen.
Do you support the two-state solution of the Palestinian issues, or what do you take on about the two-state solution?
I like I said before, you know, I support a one-state solution. I think, you know, like we did previously, and it happened previously, where, you know, Muslims and Jews and Christians should live together, and but with recognition of a Palestinian state.
I support a one-state solution with recognition of a Palestinian state. The only, that's the Oldham Group, the only way you can have a recognition of a Palestinian state with a one-state solution is how? It's the eradication of Israel. So here you have a sectarian candidate calling for the eradication of Israel on a global news channel. I know it's a Bangla news channel, but it's global. Yeah, it goes out in the lead up to the election. A solicitor, a human rights solicitor.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম সম্মানিত ওল্ডামবাসী, আপনারা জানেন আগামী বৃহস্পতিবার 4 জুলাই ব্রিটেনের সাধারণ নির্বাচন অনুষ্ঠিত হবে। এই নির্বাচনে ওল্ডহামের বিজ্ঞ আইনজীবী জনাব জাফর ইকবাল ওল্ডহাম ওয়েস্ট, চারাটন এবং রয়টন থেকে এমপি পদে প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বিতা করছেন। জাফর একজন বিজ্ঞ আইনজীবী, দীর্ঘদিন ধরে কমিউনিটি সেবা করে যাচ্ছেন। আমি জাফরকে গত 30 বছর ধরে চিনি। উনি আমার বন্ধু এবং সহকর্মী, একজন ভালো লোক। আমার বিশ্বাস আপনারা জাফরকে আপনাদের মহামূল্যবান ভোট দিয়ে নির্বাচিত করলে জাফর একনিষ্ঠভাবে আপনাদের সেবা করবে। এই বিশ্বায়নের আমরা একটি কঠিন সময় পার করছি। আমার দৃঢ় বিশ্বাস জাফর এমপি নির্বাচিত হলে মহান সংসদে গিয়ে জাফর আপনাদের কথা বলবেন, নির্যাতিত ফিলিস্তিন জনগণের কথা বলবেন। আসুন আমরা সবাই মিলে ওল্ডহাম ওয়েস্ট, চারাটন এবং রয়টন থেকে জাফর ইকবালকে আমাদের মূল্যবান ভোট দিয়ে নির্বাচিত করি এবং অত্র এলাকার জনগণের সেবা করার সুযোগ দান করি। আপনারা সবাই ভালো থাকবেন, সুন্দর থাকবেন। সবার জন্য রইল অনেক অনেক দোয়া, ভালোবাসা আর শুভকামনা।
ZAFFAR IQBAL, why have you deleted this endorsement from your Facebook page? Human rights lawyer. You can hear him, SHA NAWAZ. You don't have to understand Bangla. He's endorsing ZAFFAR IQBAL. He's known him for 30 years. This man, SHA NAWAZ, is endorsing him. He's endorsed him from Bangladesh and sent a video over.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। সম্মানিত ওল্ডহামবাসী, আপনারা জানেন আগামী বৃহস্পতিবার 4 জুলাই ব্রিটেনের সাধারণ নির্বাচন অনুষ্ঠিত হবে। এই নির্বাচনে ওল্ডহামের বিজ্ঞ আইনজীবী জনাব জাফর ইকবাল ওল্ডহাম ওয়েস্ট, চারাটন এবং রয়টন থেকে এমপি পদে প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বিতা করছেন। জাফর একজন বিজ্ঞ আইনজীবী, দীর্ঘদিন ধরে কমিউনিটি সেবা করে যাচ্ছেন। আমি জাফরকে গত 30 বছর ধরে চিনি। উনি আমার বন্ধু এবং সহকর্মী, একজন ভালো লোক। আমার বিশ্বাস আপনারা জাফরকে আপনাদের মহামূল্যবান ভোট দিয়ে নির্বাচিত করলে জাফর একনিষ্ঠভাবে আপনাদের সেবা করবে। এই বিশ্বায়নের যুগে আমরা একটি কঠিন সময় পার করছি। আমার দৃঢ় বিশ্বাস জাফর এমপি নির্বাচিত হলে মহান সংসদে গিয়ে জাফর আপনাদের কথা বলবেন, নির্যাতিত ফিলিস্তিন জনগণের কথা বলবেন। আসুন আমরা সবাই মিলে ওল্ডহাম ওয়েস্ট, চারাটন এবং রয়টন থেকে জাফর ইকবালকে আমাদের মূল্যবান ভোট দিয়ে নির্বাচিত করি এবং অত্র এলাকার জনগণের সেবা করার সুযোগ দান করি। আপনারা সবাই ভালো থাকবেন, সুন্দর থাকবেন। সবার জন্য রইল অনেক অনেক দোয়া, ভালোবাসা আর শুভকামনা।
ZAFFAR, why have you deleted it? Shoaib Akhtar, this is your candidate being endorsed by SHA NAWAZ. Kamran Ghafoor, this is your candidate being endorsed by SHA NAWAZ. What's Raja on about? All I see is a bloke with some dodgy curtains behind him and the shirt that won't look at a place in Hawaii. What's Raja on about? The man in the video footage that leaked out of Bangladesh is SHA NAWAZ. He took a machine gun to the streets of Bangladesh, shooting people. I don't know how many he killed, but there were hundreds massacred in Bangladesh over the last few weeks. Hindu villages burnt down, Hindus targeted and killed because of no other reason than they were Hindus. SHA NAWAZ, if he's not part of some sort of illegal, unlawful, militia, he's a terrorist. If you took a machine gun onto the streets of a city, of a town, and started shooting at people, you're a terrorist. Why is the Oldham Group being endorsed by a terrorist? Why is the Oldham Group candidate a 30-year friendship, ZAFFAR IQBAL? Every Oldham Group councillor should now be questioned by the counter-terrorism unit of their relationships with a terrorist SHA NAWAZ. Because that's what that is, terrorism. It fits the definition of terrorism. You take a machine gun onto the streets of a democracy and start shooting at people. Come on, Starmer. You've put 12-year-olds in prison for saying shouty words. Here is... Oh, no, but he's done it in Bangladesh. SHA NAWAZ is now back in the United Kingdom. A man who went on a machine gun killing spree, politically connected, is now back in Oldham. How was this man allowed back in? How was this Oldham Group, this sectarian political group affiliate, allowed to re-enter the country? Why is he back in Oldham, and why has he not been arrested? Has he brought his machine gun here with him as well? Does he have access to machine guns here? Or is it just his bad shirts and James Bond villain hats he has with the sunglasses? How on earth is SHA NAWAZ allowed back into this country? And you can see clearly, oh, I'm not sure, I've deleted that. Oh, might have been a mistake. No. We all know why it's now been deleted. We all know why it's been deleted, but we kept the evidence, didn't we? I think the Solicitors Regulatory Authority will want to investigate ZAFFAR IQBAL on 2 points now. One, it is TV interview where he talks about a one-state solution, and that state being Palestine. And secondly, his sharing of a video of an endorsement by a man called SHA NAWAZ, who has taken to the streets of Bangladesh with a machine gun to shoot and kill people. Come on, Shoaib Akhtar. Say something. These are your Bangladeshi boys giving you endorsements. I've known him for 30 years. Well, come on, ZAFFAR IQBAL. How long have you known him, Kamiji? Shoaib Akhtar. The other person who knows him, is this guy. Saeed Maruf Ali. He's blocked me at the moment on Twitter. Saeed Maruf Ali, I want to go through this with you, works at North Chadderton School. A senior member of staff at North Chadderton School. Saeed Maruf Ali likes to talk about Islamophobia and the rise of hate crime. He likes to be the victim to Saeed Maruf Ali. We have seen evidence of racism and Islamophobia. We stand in solidarity with communities who have faced intimidation directly or who now feel less safe. Well, I'll tell you what, Saeed Maruf Ali, I feel less safe knowing that the Oldham Group, the sectarian Oldham Group that you belong to, advocate for a one-state solution. In fact, I presume many Jews feel less safe. That a senior member of staff at a Oldham secondary school belongs to a group that wants to see the eradication of Israel and is close mates with a machine gun maniac. Thank you. Your son's head of year, so I've not got that wrong, have I? Saeed Maruf Ali knows all about racism and Islamophobia when he can be the victim. But come on, Saeed Maruf Ali. Come on, Maruf. Here he is. ZAFFAR IQBAL is ready to deliver the change Oldham needs. What were we going to do? Round up all the Jews? Is that what we're going to do if this lot won? Round up all the Jews? And if people didn't comply, if people like me didn't comply, was SHA NAWAZ going to go and get a machine gun from maybe somewhere and take to the streets to attack people like me? How can a head of year at a school be linked, directly connected to ZAFFAR IQBAL, who promotes anti-Semitism. There's no ambiguity there. That's anti-Semitic. And go somewhere to campaign to get people to vote for him because he's the Muslim candidate. And they were at the Millennium Centre. Fat Junaid and his mates were at the Millennium Centre telling people not to vote for me because I support gay people. And what they meant by I support gay people was that I do not agree with gay people being lynched. Is that what you want, North Chadderton? Is that what you want to teach your children? You want to teach them to hate Jewish people and to call for the eradication of Israel. You want them to discriminate against gay people. And you want to support terrorism. What am I on about? Here he is. The racist Saeed Maruf Ali decided to taunt the Bangladeshis who supported me by putting up a photograph of him eating a chapati with a comment about liking chapatis. Because the Pakistanis taunt Bangladeshis because we eat rice. So Maruf Ali decided he was going to some casual racism. And if mango chutney is racist, ask any Pakistani, ask any Bangladeshi. Having roti and curry with Team ZAFFAR IQBAL. What am I on about? Here's the last bit of evidence. Look whose TikTok it was shared off. Look whose name is shared on that. Whose name is that? Who is sharing this endorsement video? TikTok who? Saeed Maruf Ali. That shows a clear link between Maruf Ali and a terrorist. So there you have it, a clear link between a head of year, a senior member of North Chadderton School, Oldham, and a sectarian politician with ideals that include the eradication of Israel, with supporters that Saeed Maruf campaigned alongside at the Millennium Centre, that shared homophobic abuse, racism towards his own Bangladeshi community, and if that wasn't enough, he clearly has some form of relationship with a terrorist. Or is he not a terrorist? Is taking a machine gun to the streets not terrorism? Is that the sort of person you want teaching your children? I ask you again. Is that the sort of person you want teaching your children? That's him now. Loading up his machine gun. Apparently, the people my sources in Bangladesh also told me he had a revolver in his pocket as well. They were running from him. Here he is. Endorsed by Saeed Maruf Ali. All of them together, part of the sectarian Oldham Group. And this is not just an issue in Oldham. If you scratch the surface anywhere where these sectarians control, you'll see their links to organised crime. All the way to this. North Chadderton School, how is it can you now employ this man to access children when he has a direct link to this guy? Campaigns alongside an individual who called for the eradication of Israel. Subtly coded, but that's all that meant. There is no one you're going to find who will be able to dispute what that means. I believe in a one-state solution, and that state is Palestine. And some casual anti-Bangladeshi racism thrown in as well. Do we know if the police are aware? Of course the police are aware. So the question now is, why have the police not arrested SHA NAWAZ? That's the question, isn't it? The question is, why have the police not arrested SHA NAWAZ? This is a guy who takes a machine gun to the streets of Bangladesh last week, shoots God knows how many people, as part of a reign of terror where people were lynched, dragged off the streets, lynched, hung, villages burnt. My man with his machine gun and a gun in his pocket. He's now back in the UK. Why is he back in the UK? He's back in the UK because his side lost. Wave through immigration. Yes, SHA NAWAZ, come on through. Do you know why I believe that is? And I said I'd share it with you all. Why that is? SHA NAWAZ is back in the country freely because he fought on the side of the terrorists that have affiliations with the UK government. There's a woman called Tulip Siddiqui. She's an MP. She's a niece of the ousted Prime Minister. Belongs to the Awami League. If you go killing people on behalf of the Awami League in Bangladesh, then in the UK it seems you're okay. It's the exact mess we got ourselves into with the Libyans. And then what happened? Manchester Arena got blown up. There's no such thing as my enemy's enemy is my friend when it comes to this sort of stuff. They're all our bloody enemy. Anyone who takes to the streets of a democracy and mows down people with a machine gun, I want nothing to do with, irrespective of which side he claims to be on. Yes, he should have been arrested at the airport, but he's now. And the joke is apparently, what is it with these humanitarians and human rights lawyers and all of that nonsense? He's now apparently a human rights lawyer or working on some human rights cases at one of the local law firms. But he should have been arrested. How can a man take to the streets of a democracy, shoot at protesters? We know thousands have been killed, massacred, villages burnt down, and him be allowed back into our country. What sort of country is this? It is disgraceful, it is frightening. But then how can we have Saeed Maruf Ali, who's been promoting this man, openly promoting this man along with his candidate, calling for the eradication of Israel? How can we have this man, Maruf Ali, access our children on Monday morning at North Chadderton School? How can we have an extremist supporter freely access children? Explain that to me. And yes, I've written to the school about the anti-Semitism. Didn't get a response, but I have written to the school, the head teacher at the school, and I'll write to them tomorrow about his endorsement of terrorism. He's linked to terrorists. He's a terrorist. SHA NAWAZ is a terrorist. How many people has he killed with that machine gun that day? I wouldn't be sending my children to school. I would not be sending... My daughter went to North Chadderton School. There's not a chance in hell I would be letting her go to North Chadderton School on Monday or Tuesday when school opens, unless the school had immediately assured parents that they have removed Saeed Maruf Ali from his post. Suspended him pending a full investigation. If you go after these people the way I have, you get threats. We act on behalf of Mr. Cameron Gaffar. Our client has instructed us in relation to 2 articles you have published on social media. In the first article, you imply that Mr. Gaffar orchestrated an attack on your supporter canvasser. I did no such thing. Complete lie, fabrication. In fact, I was very clear that my supporter, who was out delivering leaflets in Chadderton, was attacked by the Labour Party, by people who talked about it being a Labour area. I think maybe Councillor Cameron Gaffar has got confused with his past relationship with the Labour Party. In the second article, you directly allege that Councillor Gaffar and a fellow councillor, whom we do not represent, are attempting to defame you and are associated with organised crime. Well, they're attempting to defame me. It was very clear. Repeatedly. I've shared the text messages. But in terms of the associated with organised crime, in relation to the first instance, if this had been instigated by my client as a prospective parliamentary candidate, you would be duty bound to report them to the police. Well, actually, the crime was reported to the police and the police spoke to Steve and there's a crime reference number. Can you kindly establish on what basis you're alleging that my client is linked to organised crime? I'm going to write this. Let me bring this up this way. Give me a second. Can you kindly establish on what basis are you alleging that my client So that's Cammy G is linked to organised crime. Yet again, another baseless allegation. Whilst our client staunchly supports freedom of expression, blah, 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 it is apparent they're designed to tarnish our client's reputation to further your political ambitions. Don't think so. Upon careful examination of both articles, we find them to be unequivocally defamatory. Therefore, our client is fully entitled to commence legal act proceedings for defamation and injunctive relief. However, we have instructions to try and resolve this matter without resorting to litigation, providing that you immediately remove the articles, undertake not to republish the articles or any similar allegations, publish a comprehensive apology in terms to be agreed, visibility for 28 days. Here we go. Councillor Cameron Gaffer, this is my public apology. This. Is that good enough for you? Or do I need to serve it with samosas and chapatis for you? So you understand it. Here. Look at this. Substantive damages. So the allegation: can you kindly establish on what basis you're alleging that my client is linked to organised crime? This is an email that I sent out in the lead up to just after the local elections, before the general election had been called, to Councillor Howard Sykes and Sheldon as the respective leaders of these parties. Let me bring this up this way, I think. Let me read it, and there's links here. You can see the links highlighted. I welcome your statement released over the weekend and acknowledge your bravery, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, the reason I am contacting you is regarding the Oldham Group. Led by Councillor Gaffer, they have been putting pressure on the other Muslim councillors to align with them. This includes repeatedly pressuring Councillor Kausa to the point of a number of men visiting her home and having her sign papers. I am aware that Councillor Azad has received similar levels of pressure, with teams from the Oldham Group arriving multiple times where he has had papers presented to sign. Both signed them, by the way, in the end. I suspect he will also sign these papers agreeing to join the Oldham Group. As you are fully aware, I have led at least 3 parallel campaigns in Oldham separate to exposing the CSE scandal. One of these has been fighting against the cartel-style politics of Arooj Shah and her Labour Party. It is my growing belief that the Oldham Group is just another cartel seeking to replace the existing Labour Party. I have been informed by Councillor Chauhan from the Oldham Group that they are negotiating with you for a position of deputy leader in exchange for their support. Whilst who you appoint and in what capacity is entirely your business, I think it is important that I make you aware of what has been taking place. I also think it is only right that I make you aware of the direct criminal associations of both the HMO millionaire Councillor Gaffer and his associate Councillor Wahid. This, let me read it first and I'll bring it up. This is a news article from the 21st of March 2018. You will find Waqar Ashraf named as one of the henchmen involved in smuggling £4 million worth of drugs into Manchester. It is my understanding that this is Councillor Wahid's younger brother. You will also see that Mohammed Kashmiri was identified as the ringleader. My information is that this man is an immediate family relative of Councillor Gaffer. Manchester Evening News, just opening. The drugs gang who smuggled £4 million of cannabis into Manchester in boxes of grated cheese. The 5 men, all from Oldham, shipped just over 400 kilograms of high-potency skunk from the Netherlands into Manchester. A drugs gang smuggled more than £4 million, yeah. The drugs run was organised in a WhatsApp group titled Round Trip and funded by Liverpool gangsters. However, the plot turned into a farce. Mohammed Kashmiri, 29, from Oldham, was the organiser of the plot. Someone should ask Councillor Cameron Gaffer who Mohammed Kashmiri is. Might not know him. He flew to the Netherlands to make arrangement for the importation of the drugs along with his henchman Waqar Ashraf. Waqar Ashraf, of course, is who I'm claiming to be Wahid's brother. That's Mohammed Kashmiri. They had to draft in another man, Irfan Asghar, to meet the morning delivery of the drugs. Asghar abandoned the consignment. There's Irfan Asghar. Ringleader Kashmiri arrived back in Manchester. Driver Zain Shoaib. Kashmiri was later arrested. This is Waqar Ashraf. So it seems if that is true, and my information is Waqar Ashraf is the younger brother of Councillor Wahid, it appears that the two councillors' relationship predates, and my information is wrong, well done, but it appears, then of course I'll say I've got it wrong, but it appears that the two councillors' families have a relationship that predates their political careers, and that relationship is in organised crime. And if that's not enough, there's a second article. This is the news article from the 19th of September 2012. You'll find Kashif Ghaffar named as on the run from the police for connection with the supply of Class A drugs. He was on their most wanted list, and police appealing to the public to help catch him. My information is that Kashif Ghaffar is the brother of Councillor Cameron Ghaffar. I do not know whether he's still in the run or whether he has been apprehended and convicted. I have received conflicting stories on this. Help catch Greater Manchester's most wanted. Kashif Ghaffar, 32, from Oldham, is wanted in connection with supply of Class A drugs. Yeah. On the list of most wanted? Or have I made this up? Help catch, police catch Greater Manchester's most wanted. Anyone want this email? I'll forward it on to you. So on that basis, can you kindly establish on what basis you are alleging that my client is linked to organised crime? Well, if your brother is on Greater Manchester's most wanted list, or your cousin, I understand that this is his brother, and the other one that he's also linked to somehow. If your brother is on Greater Manchester's most wanted list, or was on Greater Manchester's most wanted list, for the supply of Class A drugs, would you say it's fair to say there's a link to organised crime? And I think those of you who voted for him should ask him. Those of you who supported the Oldham Group in Hollywood should ask him. Should I ask Councillor Wahid, was his younger brother part of a drugs gang that tried to bring in cannabis from the Netherlands, funded by some Liverpool crime group? Is that not organised crime? Should I ask him who exactly is Mr. Kashmiri? Who is it? Every time, it is always the same. Every time, it is always the same. When it comes to this town, and these sectarian, these Pakistani, Bangladeshi politicians that we object to, not all of them, but the ones we've been objecting to, whether they are Labour or whether they are the Oldham Group, we find they've got businesses that benefit from the relationship with the council. We find they've got direct links to organised crime or criminals. We find that they play the Muslim card. They cry racism. They make sure that the white community is not represented in the way they do the politics. And we, of course, we find a reliance on postal votes. These sectarians are dangerous. In whatever town you see them, these sectarians are dangerous. And they only flourish because the mainstream parties allowed them to flourish. I warned Howard Sykes. I warned Graham Sheldon. And yet they tried to put together a coalition They tried to put together a coalition where Cameron Gaffar wanted the deputy leadership and to put some of his sectarian councillors in key positions of power. Now, I'm not saying Arud Shah's outcome with Arud Shah in control is better, where Brian Hoban and Mark Hinz have got into bed with Shah, have only got into bed with Shah because they failed to get in bed with Cameron Gaffar. Remember the infamous party at Cafe East where Paul Eric went with Mark Hinz and Brian Hoban? These white men, first of all, tried to play Gaffar and the sectarians, play with them. And then when they weren't playing, they went and played with Arud Shah and the Labour Party. And you only need to scratch the surface. You don't have to try very hard to see what they are. Very similar. And this is the mess we find ourselves in terms of the rise of the sectarians. This is the mess we find ourselves in across towns and cities. Our politics has been corrupted in a way that is alien to the usual form of corruption that we have in politics. These aren't sex scandals or just giving contracts to your mate, because they're all playing a sectarian card. They're all playing with that minority group and playing with them to say you're victims of racism, or you're victims of Islamophobia, or you're not represented, the Muslims are oppressed, you're not represented. And all the time in the background you have men like SHA NAWAZ, the machine gun maniac, who's now openly walking the streets of Oldham, endorsed by a man that works in a school ahead of year, who also promotes the position of a one-state solution. You know and I know, if it had been a white person with anything far right that way working in a school, he would have been marched out by now. He would have been marched out by now. Why hasn't it happened? I think we all know why. Maru should not be working in a school. He should be nowhere near a school. The only reason why the sectarians are rising across the United Kingdom is because of weak men and women in the mainstream political parties that have allowed them to do so. The Conservatives, because they haven't had the courage to challenge them and sometimes pander to them, and the Labour Party because they've accommodated them and then ended up in some form of blackmail relationship. And once the sectarians could no longer get what they wanted through the Labour Party, they just stepped out of the Labour Party and declared themselves as independents. The sectarians do not represent people like me any more than they represent people like you. What they want, I do not want. I believe that we can and should be represented by a wide diaspora of people. Black, white, male, female, Christian, Muslim, whatever, I don't care. What I care is whether you're a decent person and you have the competency and the capability to represent the community. And I challenge the sectarian group to prove me wrong. I challenge Cameron Gaffar to prove me wrong. I challenge Arud Shah to prove me wrong. Put up white candidates in Coldhurst. Put up white candidates in Waterhead. I challenge Arud Shah not to retire off her white councillor who's next up for the election in Waterhead, Peter Dean. I challenge Arud Shah to prove that she won't give in to sectarian politics in this town anymore and leave Peter Dean to fight in Waterhead. My strong suspicion is she'll replace him with a Pakistani candidate to fight the Pakistani sectarian group, the Oldham Group, who will put up a Pakistani candidate in Waterhead. If you're not sectarians, Councillor Cameron Gaffar, I challenge you to put up white candidates in the wards where you can win. I challenge you to put up a white candidate in Waterhead. I challenge you to put up a white candidate in Alexander, to put up a white candidate in Medlock Vale, in St Mary's, in Werneth. You're defined by your actions. And your actions as far as I'm concerned, is what label you as sectarians, and dangerous sectarians, when you're affiliated with a man like SHA NAWAZ, who takes to the streets of Bangladesh with a machine gun, then re-enters the United Kingdom, and the only thing that can make it worse is directly linked, promoted by the head of year, Saeed Maroof Ali from North Chadderton School. If these were white extremists, it would be headline news.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.